Today I'm doing an introductory video for Trello, which is an online project management tool. It's really good for anybody who has a lot of things on their task list, a lot of to-dos. You're going to see as we get started that the tasks that I have on my list are geared toward people who sell products on Teachers Pay Teachers, but you can get the gist. Anybody can use this tool, and it is phenomenal and has changed my life. Not to oversell it. This is the login page. Sign up to get an account, and it is free. So you can create a new account. You can sign up with Google. I already have an account, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in. Okay, so when you log in, you will not see this many boards. You will see a welcome board and create a new board. The welcome board is created by Trello, and it kind of walks you through some of the same things I'll be walking you through and gives you some practice exercises. So feel free to check that out. TPT is my personal board, and sample board is the one that I made for today. So let's get started. When you open up your board, you won't have anything here, but on my sample board, I've created lists, ELA, STEM, blog ideas, and so forth. And then we have task cards underneath. For me personally, I like to do a few different kinds of task lists. So for me, I like the subject areas where I can kind of keep track of my ideas for new resources, blog ideas, maintenance general. I went to the Teachers Pay Teachers conference last year and made some goals. These are a few sample goals. And then I actually like to go into the calendar and set things up. I actually usually start by seasons, the 4 seasons, and then break it out by month. And then I move my cards where I want them to go. So everything is very easy to maneuver, very drag and drop. I can even change the order of my lists if I want, just drag and drop. And so for June, I know I'm going to have 4 blog entries. So I can just move these into the weeks. And then as I come up with ideas, I can just change it. So let's say for my 3rd blog of June, I want to talk about helicopter parenting. And maybe even I was online and I saw an article. If I did, I could just add a link here. So let's just pretend. And I could save that. And it is clickable. That isn't a real link, or at least I don't think it is, so I'm not going to click it. And then you'll see anytime you change the description in a card, you get this little icon here. This one doesn't have any details, so it does not show that. Okay, so let's talk about what you see when you actually open up a card and what your options are. You have a description. You can put any kind of information you want there. I usually just jot down my ideas as they occur to me. You can add comments. I don't tend to use it very often, but you can. There's no reason not to. And then activity just shows every time you make a change to the card, it tracks what you've done. I've played around with this one a little bit already. And then over here, we have some different options. So let's go through those. Members. You can add people to your card, but I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to come back to it. For labels, if you like to color code your information, let's say all your blogs, you just want to put green. Let me leave that there so I can show you what that looks like later. For due date, choose what you like. And something that's kind of cool is if it's within a day of being due, it'll code it yellow. And if it is the day something is due or it's overdue, it'll be red. Otherwise, if we want to change that due date, let's push it out a couple days here. You'll see it's just standard gray. You can change the time as well. I just never do. Excuse me, I keep clicking around. So I'm going to leave that actually as for tomorrow. If you have a file you want to attach, which is super convenient, you can do that too. You can just go to your computer wherever you have it and attach the file. I'm not going to do that today. And then some of these actions, if you want to move the card to a different board, I prefer to drag and drop, but you can choose from any of the lists that you have, and you can change the position as well. Again, I like to drag and drop, but it's there as an option. Let's say you want to copy this card just exactly as it is to another list. You can do that. Subscribe, not really necessary when you are working alone, but if you add members later and anybody else makes a change to the card, you can set this up so you'll be notified. And archive, I'm going to come back to. Okay, so then when we close the card out, you're going to see we've got the color coding here and we have the due date. And lets me know I'm running out of time. I'm going to show you one of my favorite features. I'm going to use a different card for that. The checklist. Anytime I'm doing a new product, these are some of the things that I need to make sure that I've done. So I like to have a new product checklist. It's really nice for a couple of reasons. You can obviously check it off. If you don't like to see it once it's done, you can hit to hide it. I usually keep it on because I like to see the progress I've made. Something else that's really nice is you can actually drag and drop these if you decide, after you make your list, if you want to prioritize. Something else that is also really nice within checklist is that you can copy checklists from one card to another. Let me show you that. So let's say I'm going to make a STEM challenge freebie. It's a new product, so I want to add a checklist. And I can either create a new one, so this is what will happen if I do a new one, and you can name it obviously something that makes more sense. Step 1, step 2. So it's that easy, just type and hit return. When you've got an open box that you don't want anymore, you can just click that X. But let's say I want to bring over that new product checklist. Same process, I click checklist, but then down here, copy items from. And if I hit a drop down here, it's going to show me any checklists I have that are existing already on other cards. So the one I want is called new product checklist. So I'm going to just click that and add it. And you'll see this is the same checklist that I had from the other card. So that's a nice feature there. Another option is to actually just copy the entire card. So I can, if I'm in this card, copy. So the title will stay the same unless I change it. So I'll just call it copy so we can see the difference. And you can decide, do you want to keep the checklist or not that goes with it? I do. And let's say I'm going to put it, it's still going to stay on my sample board. It's not going to go to the welcome board or to my TPT board. But let's say I want to put it in the STEM list instead. So I can create that card. And then we see it is over here in the STEM list. One thing that I would like to go over now is archiving versus delete. Obviously, I don't need this card. I could change this to any lesson I wanted, but let's just say I don't want the card anymore. I have a couple of options. I can archive or I can delete. Now I want you to watch right here over here. This is the card that I have open. If I hit archive, it's going to immediately disappear, but it's not really gone for good. If I want to undo what I just did, if I realize oh my goodness, I made a mistake, I can send it right back. But let's say we know we want to get rid of it one way or another. If it's archived, that means it's saved somewhere you just don't see it. It's in the archive section. I'll show you how to get to that in a moment. If you hit delete, it's going to delete it for good. So let's show what that looks like. We're going to make our way on over now that it's gone. And we're going to go to the board menu. So it's very small. It's easy to miss. So when you click it, it's going to look like this. Let's do the archive part. So I hit more and I get to archived items. When I click on that, anything that I've only archived is there. And I can send it back to the board or I can delete it for good. If I send it back to the board, I'm going to actually go back to my menu there. If I send it back to the board and I go back, you're going to see that it has returned to the ELA board. If I delete it, so I hit archive and then I hit delete, I'll get the message that lets me know I can't undo this, I can't reopen it, it's going to be gone for good. I hit delete, and just to double check, we come back over here, show menu, more, archived items. I don't have any archived items. There is no way to get that card back. So make sure you are really sure if you delete an item. Some of the other things you can do in this menu, you can go to settings and you can change your little picture, your icon here if you want to. One thing I said I would come back to is how to add members. If you're doing a task list that involves maybe other teammates in your school, if you're a teacher, or if you have a store on Teachers Pay Teachers that you work with somebody else, or if you just have a family and you have chores and tasks that you want to be able to communicate, you can actually add members here and you would add their email addresses. And as you add their email addresses, they'll be getting invitations and they become available members. And something that's really cool about that, when you've added multiple members, if you're on a card and you click on members, you would see everybody who is available who has been added to this board would be available in the drop down. And you can drag and drop them or just click them, and they become assigned to the card. And then they'll be able to see at a glance which tasks are theirs. Okay, some other things in the menu. You can change the background color if you like. Doesn't really bother me. I don't care about the background color, but you might like to. Filter cards are pretty cool. So if you've been using your label coloring and you want to see just anything that has a certain color, you can filter that way. You can filter by things that are unassigned, meaning you didn't assign a teammate to them or a team member to them. You can do that by when is something due. You can add stickers. I'm not quite sure why you'd want to, but you can. It looks like this when you do. You can also print and export. You can copy your board. There are a lot of different things, so you just want to kind of play around and check it out. I don't use a lot of these options, but I'm learning more every day about what I like to use and what doesn't really work for me. So you just kind of have to try it out on your own. And just from an organizational perspective, I like to make little dividing lines on my cards sometimes. And one of the ways I use it is to show the difference. If, like in this case, these are the goals I had, and as I complete them, I drop them down. But I also sometimes use them within a week. So I'm going to actually copy this card, and I'm going to, oops, I'm going to put it on June 5th. And one of the things that I like to do is either separate during a week some of the things that I know I'm going to get done and then my stretch goals. Other times I'll do things I'm going to get done during the week versus things I'm going to be getting done during the weekend. And it's simple enough when you're creating a card. You know, you just either make a line or you can use the asterisks like I did before. Okay, so last thing before I go is I wanted to point out that Trello is available as an app, at least on iPhone. I did not check on Android, but this is really helpful when you're on the go, so you don't have to try to find a piece of scratch paper when you come up with some great ideas. Just wanted to share that this has been tremendously helpful for me. Definitely helped me create a lot of new products for Teachers Pay Teachers this year. Over half my store I developed this year, and that's due in large part to just being able to stay organized and easily, change my mind about what I feel like working on from one week to the next, and gave me a lot of comfort that I'm not forgetting where I wrote things down and losing ideas that I came up with. So I hope that this is as helpful a tool for you as it has been for me. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.